Yo, this is so rough. I'm trying to figure out where the link to this live is so I can actually share it with people. And it's just not showing me anything. It's not showing me anything about how to get this live to other people. And I'm like, how do you expect me to share it with the. Oh, well, there's a share button. There it is. All right. Okay, so give me just a moment. All right. It looks like we are finally in order. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tarot Astronova's fifth podcast. I'm very happy to return after such an extended hiatus. Today, we will be talking about Saturn in Aquarius and Mars in Cancer, a detached imperative with personal motivation. In traditional astrology, Saturn is dignified, with Aquarius as its night ruler. Though Saturn may not be considered so dignified in modern astrology, it is important that we pick apart what these placements mean. In this podcast, we will explore the nature of these two planets in the current astrological configuration and how it will affect us over its duration. Saturn represents the challenges in our lives. Saturn's rationale is that if we just lollygag and engage in all pleasures of the flesh, that nothing will ever get done. No lessons will be learned, nothing of value would be built, and pleasures would give way to ennui. As I near my Saturn return, I am inclined to partially agree with Saturn, despite how I continue to disagree with its methods and harshness. Aquarius is the sign directly opposite Leo. Leo represents the sun, the establishing body of our solar system. Just one moment, I'm adjusting the volume and frequency. There we are. And as such, Leo represents tried and true methods, expressions of joy, and most importantly, a sense of personal desires and identity. With Aquarius being opposite this sort of energy, it calls us to employ tactics that are not tried and true, that are not establishment. It calls us to concern ourselves less with our personal desires and more with how all things are connected, all while taking a step back and looking at things from a more detached perspective. If Leo is the sun, Aquarius is a cloud. And with stoic, miserly Saturn in cloudy Aquarius, Mars in Cancer may seem to contribute to the perfect storm, ready to rain on our parades. Now that we know the significance of Aquarius and the sacrifices we are called to make when Saturn transits through this sign, let's talk about Mars in Cancer. Whether modern or traditional, Mars is considered fallen in the sign of Cancer, meaning the two energies are minimally compatible with each other. But why is that the case? The sign of Cancer rules over the moon. Therefore, any astrological body in the sign of Cancer can be considered moon ruled. Give me just one moment to adjust my camera to more closely face me. There we are. Mars represents how we behave in matters of anger and ambition. Cancer is a sensitive, tender sign, an emotional sign that struggles with matters of discipline. This is due to the velocity of the moon. It is the fastest of all observable astrological bodies, moving through all 12 signs in roughly 28 days. The moon represents emotions, and emotions are neither logical nor disciplined. Scorpio, the feminine ruler of Mars, knows discipline, acting like a spider patiently waiting in its woven web for its plan to come together. Cancer prefers, much like Aries, to fly by the seat of its pants, more concerned with protecting and enjoying what it already has than the acquisition of new things. Mars is an aggressor like Aries, not a defender like Cancer. Mars needs discipline like Scorpio and Capricorn, not vacillation like Libra and Cancer. Now that this has been spelled out the long way, I hope you can see why Mars and Cancer are mismatched energies. Now, what does that mean for the world at large? With the current astrological configuration, you may feel mismatched yourself. On the one hand, the universe calls you to be restrained and play a long game right now, but everything may seem so much more close, personal, and hard to ignore. Motivation may be hard to come by one day and in abundance the next. One day you might feel reclusive and conflict avoidant. The next day you may feel more aggressive and boisterous than ever. This can be exceptionally difficult for people who normally find themselves disciplined and composed, especially if that is what you need, discipline and composure. So, you now know the problem, let's talk about the solution. In many ways, Mars in Cancer is showing us what we are made of. How will we respond when the chips are down, emotions are heightened, and the situation is more intense than ever? Take extra time to ground yourself and remind yourself that currently we are in a time of heightened emotions. Take some time to consider just why you respond to things as you do. Take time to toe the thin balance between self-nurture and collective considerations. When on an airplane, we are told to equip our own masks, first in the event of cabin decompression, such that we may assist others. This is not due to selfishness, it is due to logic and necessity. If you are brave and focused enough to assist others in such an event, they will need you, and you will find yourself a liability if unconscious. Here, the logic is no different. You must properly nurture yourself so that you may assist others, but you must make sure to keep the end goal of collective aid in mind. Anything else would be ill-served. In conclusion, Saturn in Aquarius and Mars in Cancer are an odd, easily misunderstood combination. While it may be difficult to navigate, know that it is not impossible. With this podcast, I aim to provide a full spectrum perspective of the challenges and the benefits alike. If you enjoy my work and wish to sponsor it or become a part of it, please contact me at support@sxrmedia.com or sxrmedia@gmail.com. Thank you for watching, and may these podcasts prove helpful to you. Until next time, this has been a Tarot Astronova podcast. Did y'all really think it was over that fast? I mean, kind of, sort of, honestly, because I really haven't planned for much more than that at this particular time. Trust me, Saturn in Cancer has been having. I mean, I'm not sorry, Saturn in Cancer. Mars in Cancer has definitely been having its way with me. So I've been in my own way, but let's take a look at the current astrological events and see what's going on. So right now, we are in a Taurus heavy season. There's a lot of Taurus energy in the air, a lot of Aquarius energy in the air, and a little hodgepodge of other things. Right now, sun's at 12 degrees Taurus, moon is moving into Aquarius. We're going to be experiencing sun square moon soon. The sun being in something that is very stable, does not want to move, but the moon in something that is very revolutionary and needing its freedom and its space and its non-restriction. Also, Mercury very soon will be entering the sign of Gemini, which will prove to be a huge boost in our collective capacities to think. Mercury in Taurus is more of a slow and sure thinker. By no means am I saying that, Mercury and Taurus people are lacking in intelligence. That's definitely not the case, but Mercury and Taurus is something that is much more procedural and prefers to make sure that it is certain about the information that it is imbibing before it moves forward. Mercury in Gemini will accelerate things while still providing that thirst for intelligence. Venus is quite comfortable right now in the sign of Taurus. She is separating a square from Saturn. However, the square to Jupiter is tightening right now. Venus in Taurus is a lover of substance. Venus in Taurus is very much so about the actions that are taken and what it can tangibly see in front of it. And Taurus is also a very stable, very specific sort of energy that doesn't really like to step out of the way and venture off of the beaten path. Whereas Aquarius is all about venturing off the beaten path. Aquarius is all about doing things in a way that is not normally expected. And people are either okay with that or they're not. Right now, Jupiter is giving us luck, fortune, and expansion through the same thing that Saturn is challenging us to accomplish and overcome. So while Venus is in this in-between state of transitioning between a square to Saturn and a square to Jupiter, we can feel like our finances are not where we want them to be. We can experience the need to evaluate ourselves and evaluate our positions, our holdings, and find that these positions are not as exactly where we would like them to be. And there may be a strong fear and a strong need to hold on to what you currently possess. But Jupiter is encouraging us to share with others. That isn't to say that we have to give away our possessions, but Jupiter appreciates the contribution of talents to things that make up something greater than the sum of its parts. That's something that everyone, well, I wouldn't say everyone is going to experience, but I would say that there's definitely a stronger uh, motivation to participate in crowdsourced behaviors. And this is further backed up by the sun's presence at about 13 degrees Taurus, soon to be exacting a square with Saturn at 13 degrees Aquarius. See, Aquarius asks us to, Saturn in Aquarius, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, asks us to achieve something that is beyond ourselves, that is greater than the whole. And the sun, while it's in Taurus at this time, is very personally oriented, very domestically oriented, and is also being backed up in that regard by Mars in Cancer. Because, Cancer and Taurus have that same lunar lore going on, because Taurus is exalted in the moon, where Cancer has rulership. So Cancer and Taurus, in terms of energies, have that sort of unique affinity with each other right now. So lots of emotions running high, lots of wanting to stay right where you are and not have to really go and be among other people, but there being a need to be among other people. Now, given that we are in a pandemic at this time, I want to remind everyone who watches these podcasts to take professional medical advice into consideration whenever it comes to anything that is said on here. I am not a doctor. I am not going to tell you that despite what the CDC says or what any other venerable authority says that you are, oops, move my microphone. Let me make sure I can still speak. Hello, hello. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you that you should go against any of the guidelines that have been set forward, but I will simply tell you what the what the astrology of the situation says, and this is what's going on right now, and them's the rules. With the moon trining the north node soon, it'll be a great opportunity to, just take a moment to really listen to your heart, listen to your instincts, and, just see where you are going right now and evaluating whether or not it is the right place. Saturn is actually trying the North Node. Saturn is actually leaving uh, an exacted trine with the North Node right now, which is a very favorable aspect because the sort of discipline that Saturn is teaching all of us at the moment will be beneficial to following our North Nodes. Once Saturn leaves Trinity with the North Node, once it progresses further into the sign of Aquarius and eventually into Pisces, we will be tested to see if we learned the lessons that it provided, such that we may further walk this nodal path, which is in the sign of Gemini right now, the North Node of information and communication, the North Node of learning. Right now, I would say to everyone that it is an excellent time to learn a skill that you can contribute to a crowd-funded situation. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing, oh, crowdfunding, do some crowdfunding, participate in some crowd-funded activities. Let's see, is there anything else on here that I'd like to talk about for the time being? Not in particular. Let me see if anybody has anything to say in the live. Does not appear to be the case. So with all of that said, I am going to end the live stream here. But if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Thank you for watching and have an excellent evening.